Happy Taco Tuesday. We're here. We're back. We're better than ever. It's going to be a good week. Lauren Jabara here with Jared Smith. And Jared, exciting news because I have a brand new camera. So now we're looking clear.
You look so beautiful. More beautiful than ever. Wait, is it Taco Tuesday or is it Turkey Tuesday? Come on.
This week,
it's Turkey Tuesday. Come on, let's go. Get that turkey ready to go, everybody. Is there a turkey shortage in Georgia? I heard that that's like a thing. I don't want to get into like current events, but
to be honest with you, I am not even going to be in town. I head out on the road today and I will have an off day in Memphis. So apparently I'm going to be having barbecue turkey.
She's walking in Memphis, everybody.
In Memphis, but you know,
I love it. I think you're going to have a blast. You're going to meet you're going to go get like some barbecue. You know, I heard that the food in Memphis has to be amazing. So I
just don't know if anything's open, Jared. So I have a feeling I'm going to be getting myself some Boston Market.
That's so sad. That's so sad. No.
Sitting in my bed and just watching football, drinking a glass or 6 of wine.
That's not bad.
Hanging out. Yeah. So that's going to be my Thanksgiving. But you know what? If you want to FaceTime me into your Thanksgiving dinner, I would definitely.
I will, but I don't want to make you jealous because I'm going to like my rich aunt's apartment on the Upper East Side. And like, she's got like a catered meal coming in. It's going to be like the primo stuff.
Send me photos. Send pics. Pictures didn't happen.
Got it.
Speaking of pics, we got a lot of those going on today because we have some early bird bets. We're going to take a look at our college football week 13. That's crazy. Final week of regular season college football before we have some playoff games next week, or what would you call it? The division championship.
Yeah, conference championship week. This is rivalry week. Which
there's going to be a lot of good rivalries going on. Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, kind of a big game. Kind of a big game. That's what they call it, right?
A big game. A little bit of a big game. Then we have college basketball picks with our friend Dan Servodidio. I hope I said that right. Servodidio. Say that 5 times fast.
No, that's your job.
We have Jared picks. We're heading all the way overseas and talking a little bit about the Champions League. Yeah, that just came out, a little bit of football. And then we can't end without our Pickswise play of the day and our best bets of the day. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's bet it. Early bird specials, Jared. We're looking at some of the college football games this week. And I'm looking at your list over here on our Google Doc. You have the most random games. There's so many exciting games going on. And you have UTEP at UAB.
Yeah.
Like, why? What?
I mean, a couple things. First of all, so I went hard on Sunday night in the early birds column. 7 games. I won't go over all of them on this show because it's a shorter show, and people don't want to just hear me talk about these dumpster dive games all day. But I do recommend everyone going to Pickswise.com. I tweeted out earlier this week. All of the angles I think are strong. All of them but one revolve around teams with 6 losses. And we talk about that being a highly motivational factor this week. If you're on 6 losses and you lose your 7th, you ain't going bowling. You don't get to go travel to the Bahamas or, Vegas or Nashville or one of those fun spots. You don't get the swag. The extra practice time is very important for these coaches. The bowl game motivation is a thing. We did very well with these picks last week with teams on 6 losses. So we're going to try it again this week. First up, a game tonight. Maction. Ball State, I got it at 5.5. We love the Maction games. I got it at 5.5. It's 6.5 now. I still feel very comfortable playing it there. Last week we gave you Buffalo, who was on 6 losses. Heartbreaking loss in overtime for Buffalo, which means they now have 7 losses, which means their season is effectively over. Ball State on 6 losses. To me, this is an evenly ranked game, so I don't love laying the points, but I think the line and the line movement is very telling. So we're going to lay it with Ball State tonight. They're at home against Buffalo. You mentioned UTEP. This is the one game that doesn't involve a 6-loss team. But to me, this is a fade of UAB. Last week, UAB had a big lead against UTSA. If they held on to that lead, they would have been playing in the conference championship game. Yeah. They did not hold on to that lead. That means this week, they have nothing to play for. They're going to go to a bowl game. They've got, I think, 7 or 8 wins. It doesn't really matter what their positioning is in the Conference USA standings. They're not going to the title game. They're facing a UTEP team that I think is, on paper, very evenly matched. And I'm getting 2 full touchdowns. I'll take 2 full touchdowns with UTEP against the UAB team that, again, no motivation, nothing to play for. Finally, This might be my favorite of the bunch.
Leslie.
This is my favorite of the bunch. North Texas getting 12 points. It's down to 10-ish now against that UTSA team. This game's exciting. So there are 3 undefeated teams in college football. We know about Georgia. We know about Cincinnati. You probably don't know about UTSA, and not a lot of people probably do. They are 11-0. What a season for the Roadrunners. But this is a pretty evenly matched game on paper. You know, both teams' net yards per play relatively even. And again, I'm getting 12 points with the North Texas team that is on 6 losses. They need this game. They've won 4 in a row. If they don't win, they are not going bowling. But this is going to be a fun game. So those are the 3 early birds this week. UTEP, North Texas, and Ball.
You're going to need to write these down because you won't even remember half of these teams.
You should see some of the games on the column. They're even more crazy. But
I know.
Go
I'm
read about it.
going to take a look at it after, but I actually might tell you on one of those because why not, Jared? I trust you.
Do you?
Okay, so now let's get into a game that really matters.
Yeah.
Let's go blue, baby. Michigan taking on Ohio State. I have Michigan and the points, plus 8.5 on FanDuel right now. This is one of the best rivalries in college football. You can't argue that, right?
No, I don't argue.
We talked about CJ Stroud and how he'd need to have a Heisman game against Michigan State. He did that. They were up 49-0 at halftime. 49-0. And his growth this past month, to me, has been extremely evident. You look at what Ryan Day's Ohio State team has done in the past 2 weeks, right? They've scored 115 points on Purdue and Michigan State combined. And frankly, in my opinion, it could have been more. Yes, they obviously covered in both of those games, but now they're playing against a team like Michigan in Ann Arbor. That should present a little bit of a challenge for Ohio State. And you're like, well, Ohio State has won basically, I think now it's 15 of the last 16 meetings that they've had. Stat check me, Jack. Stat check me on that one. 15 of the last 16.
Ohio State owns this rivalry. There's no doubt about that.
I mean,
I don't know about it. Once you go back that many wins, they stop counting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. So you were alive the last time Michigan beat Ohio State. Can we confirm that? I think that's.
I was alive. I think there was one.
You did witness.
I think at the time I was not a Michigan fan because I was still a Notre Dame fan. I did not be, to be honest with you, I did not become a Michigan fan until 2011 when I was a freshman there. Okay.
Why did you choose Michigan over Notre Dame? Do we have time to get into this story, or is this way too off the rails?
It's not. So here's the thing. I root for Michigan. I root for Notre Dame, but when they're playing Michigan, I root for Michigan.
That's really super confusing.
Just a quick off story. My freshman year, it was the first big game at the Big House under the lights, Michigan playing Notre Dame. And this was the transformation game for me. I came into that game a Notre Dame fan, even though I was a freshman at Michigan.
Wow.
And Michigan won in the last few seconds of the game.
I remember that game.
Everyone's chanting. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. I shifted. I officially became a Michigan fan that night. Wow. That was my come to Jesus
like
moment.
A caterpillar.
Being a Michigan fan.
Going into a butterfly.
I still root for Notre Dame, obviously. You know that. It's a really weird, whatever. Anyways, I think that the Wolverines have been superb to backers this year, and the defense has done some of that heavy lifting. I think the defenses really need to come in and play well against Ohio State, shut down CJ Stroud, shut down everything that they're doing on the offensive side. And then Michigan's offense needs to keep their offense off the field, time of possession. Because Cade McNamara, again, is not going to win you a game. But I think Michigan can do enough. I'm going to sprinkle it on Michigan money line too, just because I'm so hard for my team. You have to root for your team, right?
You're betting Michigan. You got to bet the money line.
Slow down an offense that looks unstoppable in Ohio State. I don't know. I think so. Can Harbaugh finally conquer his greatest demon? It's a tall order this week, Jared, but I think that they're going to be able to do it. Also, quick little note on that. I don't know if you saw this on Scott Van Pelt last night. Blake Corum, he gave his name, image, and likeness money to buy turkeys and give back 100+ turkeys to his community of Ypsilanti. So just because he's such a good person, they deserve to win this week.
Ypsilanti is not I've covered a game in Ypsilanti. It's a tough town. You know, the Michigan folks in that area, the Rust Belt's been hit hard. As a college student, and he gave his name, all of his name, image, and likeness money to buy turkeys and give back to the community for people who couldn't afford them. So that's pretty cool stuff.
Pretty
That's
cool
awesome.
stuff.
Good for him.
So what do you like? Are you taking Michigan with me? Come on now.
This is a tough game. So I'll say this. I know a lot of you out there that have been following along with the show. You've got CJ Stroud Heisman tickets that are looking really good right now. If you want to hedge that in a natural, passive way, you bet Michigan this week. You bet them on the money line. Because I think if Ohio State wins the game, I think CJ Stroud is the Heisman Trophy winner, regardless of what happens with Alabama and Bryce Young. Because I just think he's done so much. And I mean, unless they beat Georgia, which I don't think is going to happen. But so that's a natural hedge for me. I think the lines move too much, frankly. I do. I think I would take the points here with Michigan. I would, because it moved over the key number of 7, and it's still moving. And I think if there was an anecdote to slow down CJ Stroud, it's the dudes up front for Michigan, 55 and 97. 97, Hutchinson, he might be the number 1 pick in the draft. Him and Thibodeau, the kid from Oregon, are just, I mean, we might be 1-2 DNs in the draft in April, which is just unheard of. But those are, I don't know. I think it's
going to be a really exciting game, and I'm pumped about it.
Unlike Michigan State, Michigan has the elixir to slow down CJ Stroud because they have the pass rush and they can make him uncomfortable. I don't know if they will. We'll see if Ryan Day can counter, short passing game, get the receivers out on the edge a little bit. But it's going to be a chess match. I think if I had to pick it today, I haven't made up my mind yet. You made a very compelling argument.
No,
but if I had to pick it today, I'd take the points. No, I have not made up my mind yet. I don't have made up my mind yet. I haven't. You're going to peer pressure me probably on Saturday morning at like 10:30, 11 a.m. But
I'm going to peer pressure you by the end of the show. You're going to have your ticket locked in, loaded, baby. Locked and loaded.
All right,
okay, I want to take us to Oklahoma because Oklahoma State's taking up Oklahoma State, another OSU. There's a lot. I have a lot of OSUs in my pick. Oregon State, Oklahoma State.
Oh, wow.
Ohio State, all OSUs. So Oklahoma State laying 3.5 against Oklahoma. First and foremost, I think this might be one of the most underappreciated rivalries in college football. Do you agree?
Bedlam. Actually, here's the sad part. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma's going to the SEC. He says it's going to end. So I have a friend that used to work at Oklahoma State. He said that they do more for this game, marketing-wise, than any other game he's ever done in his entire life. It truly is bedlam.
Yeah. And I think so. First and foremost, one of the most underappreciated rivalries. Secondly, this feels a little strange because Oklahoma State's not normally the favorite in this matchup, right? But it is appropriate this year. I think the Pokes delivered a 23-0 shutout as a 10-point favorite over Texas Tech, which was pretty incredible. Now they have the nation's second strongest defense. They're tied with the mighty Texas A&M. Oklahoma State is not lost a game against the spread since guess what day? They've not lost a game against the spread since what day? September 11th.
I don't know, but I do know they have the best record against the spread this year with them and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they haven't lost a game against the spread since September 11th. That's wild. Oklahoma, meanwhile, coming off of a 28-21 win and cover over Iowa State. The Sooners have been up and down, especially at quarterback, right? But they're also 1-4 against the spread on the road this year, which is not a good sign heading into this one. I like Oklahoma State laying the points.
I love it.
As the favorite in this game.
And then
I'm taking you out west to the Pacific. Oregon taking on Oregon.
The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail. I was going to say ketchup, but I meant tomato.
I think this game is called, I think my favorite part of Rivalry Week is the nicknames for the games. I think this game is called the Battle for the Commonwealth Trophy, I believe. Oh, no, that might be Virginia Tech.
That's a really long name.
What's the Oregon State name? Jack or Justin? One of you guys are going to have to confirm. I thought it was the Commonwealth Trophy. I thought maybe they're both Virginia and Virginia Tech. There's some awesome names for games this week. There really are.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So again, I have Oregon taking on Oregon State. I like Oregon in the points in this one. And, you talk about a difference in experiences and emotions of football teams this season. One side, there's Oregon, right? The Ducks were absolutely clobbered by Utah as a short underdog, which I liked because I had Utah in that game. It's the Platypus Trophy. Wait, no, that's a joke.
No, it's not. That's a joke. That is a joke. They actually play for a freaking Platypus Trophy.
I'm actually dead. That's amazing. The Ducks are clobbered by Utah. The Ducks are clobbered by Utah as a short underdog. They put an end to their playoff hopes, right? Oregon State, however, they delivered a suffocating win over Arizona State. Both teams can still win the Pac-12. Oregon's path's a little bit cleaner. They win and they're in. But I can't say I've loved what I've seen from the Ducks, even when they have covered this season. Oregon State, They've been lively, but they've also been a little bit inconsistent. So my issue for this game for the Beavers is offense. If they can deliver enough of it, they have a chance. But playing at home, I tend to lean Oregon, even though I haven't necessarily loved what I've seen this season. 7 points is a lot. I like Oregon in the points. I'm actually locking that one in today.
It's called the Civil War. It's not the Platypus Trophy. Get out of here with that garbage. The Iron Bowl's another good one. The Red River Showdown, we saw that a little with Army and the Oklahoma and Texas. The Game, we talked about that. I'm just going through some of the best names. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, that's Florida, Georgia. Harvard, Yale's also The Game. The Holy War is a good one with Utah and BYU. The Egg Bowl, that's Thursday night. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, that's a good one. I love the name. I love the rivalry names. They really are. They add a lot of fanfare to the occasion.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite weeks in college football. Like 100%. I look forward to this week every single year. It's going to be so much fun. So many good games going on. What do you say?
The Platypus Trophy.
Yeah, we're going to stick with it. So I'm taking Oregon and the points for the Platypus Trophy.
The Platypus Trophy. There is some random.
They're going to lose it. So I think we need to bring in one of our friends. We're going to transition from NCAA football to NCAA basketball because there's a lot of big games going on. We're a couple weeks into the season. Let's bring in Dan Servodidio of Fantasy Alarm. Hopefully, Dan, I said your name right because I've said it like 10 times to myself. Dan Servodidio. He's the lead.
You did. Don't worry.
Nice.
Hey, he's a lead college football and college basketball analyst for Fantasy Alarm. Dan, how the heck are you? Happy Turkey Tuesday. We're transitioning from taco to Turkey Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm good. I appreciate you guys bringing me in. This is pretty cool for me. Not the Platypus Trophy. I was laughing backstage there.
Come on, get out of here. Justin's trying to mess with us today. We're on to you, Justin. That ain't right, bro.
I know, producers. Come on now, guys. Get it together. Dan, there's been a lot going on in college basketball these last couple of weeks. We're now about 2 weeks into the season. We're seeing some trends develop, some exciting games going on tonight. First of all, for you, what have you kind of seen so far this season? What surprised you? And what kind of did you expect at this point?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully some of these top teams are scheduling games against each other, and we'll talk about it in a second, like UCLA, Gonzaga. Mm-hmm. But Gonzaga and UCLA have both played good teams already, and we've had some of these top teams play each other, which I love. Because these cupcake matchups against smaller conference teams can get a little annoying early in the year. So thankfully we have these tournaments going on. It's feast week out there, and we got all these tournaments like in Maui and places like that to kind of get some good games and good matchups. And these are the games. It's important to pay attention to these because these are the games you pay attention to when it's tournament time. You're saying, okay, this team, this conference beat this team. And just kind of comparing, and maybe it's months later, but it's good trends to kind of follow there. But the top tier, it's been impressive to me to see which teams have struggled, which teams have been comfortable in their wins. We've seen like a team like Ohio State lost a couple and has fallen down a little bit. Like North Carolina has struggled. But then you have like a team like Gonzaga who has had a dominant win over Texas, which was impressive to me. And we'll get to it again in a sec, but I think like tonight's matchup against UCLA, they have Duke coming up later this week. So all these early season matchups, definitely important to pay attention to.
Dan, Gonzaga's laying, it opened 5.5. It's now 7. The total's gone down a hair. High total game, 156, seen 155, 154.5 in some spots. Late night game. So, you have all day to kind of prep for this one, and we'll see some more I'm assuming there'll be a little more line movement at some point today. And this is, of course, a Final Four rematch from last year, one of the best games of the year, maybe in the last decade. What do you see here, and, where do you see the action moving?
Yeah, well, I think this line's already starting to move in Gonzaga's favor because they were 5-point or 5.5-point favorites to start. Last night is when I saw that. And I honestly grabbed that because I think they're going to win comfortably here. I just think they're a much better team than UCLA. And as I mentioned, I look back at both those teams' early season tests. Gonzaga played Texas, and granted it was at home, but they dominated that game. They were winning by 20 at different points of that game. They ultimately won by 12 and covered that spread, which I think was 7 it closed at. But That game, I mean, Drew Timme, the National Player of the Year candidate and favorite, it played like he is, and they still have a likely top 2 NBA draft pick, Chet Holmgren, there, who's can take a backseat to Timme, and this team is still really good, or he can be the focal point, and they're even more dangerous. But I see that game, Gonzaga winning comfortably against Texas, who I think could be a Final Four contender come March, and then you have on the other side, UCLA almost lost at home to Villanova, who Villanova's a great team, give them all the credit, but at home you were favored in that game, and they ended up winning it in overtime by a more comfortable margin, but they almost lost. I mean, the Villanova had that game won. So I like Gonzaga here, and you're right, it's gonna be a high scoring game. I'm not surprised at the high total there, and probably look to the over, honestly, but it's gonna be a great offensive game for sure.
You look at a night like tonight where what I love about college basketball, there's like 300 teams. There's so many games on any given night. A night like tonight, there's like 100+ games, right?
Yeah.
When you're looking at the board, how do you narrow down your picks when there are so many games like tonight?
Yeah. It's definitely tough, especially, you have games starting up in about 30 minutes here, I think.
Let's go. Feast week, baby. Feed me.
Just keep the TV on all day. Why not? Ignore the family.
4
right?
TVs. 4 TVs.
You should see Jared's setup. It's wild.
It is.
Yeah, I'm jealous. But yeah, you just have to look at which teams are being overvalued or undervalued, spread-wise or total-wise. And honestly, I use, a couple different predictive stat websites like KenPom, Bart Torvik. Those are important. But just to look to see which teams are being, like a team like Virginia early on this season has struggled against a couple different teams, and their offense hasn't looked good. So like today they're playing Houston, and Houston is just a much stronger team. And I look at that matchup right away, and I'm already looking at the spread, and that spread I think has moved into Houston's direction over this morning. And I just look at these teams that are maybe being overvalued. Marquette is one that has been undervalued. They've pulled off a couple of impressive wins, have played teams closer than a lot of people thought, including me personally. But I look at all that stuff, and I try to see all right, which team is playing good defense, which teams are not. North Carolina is one that's not playing good defense at all. They're playing high scoring. They're just trying to outscore people, reach into the 90s point total. And those games are going high, but against the spread, you're looking at all right, the underdog can cover this game. So, those small little things that maybe the general public will just be like, oh, North Carolina is big favorites, I'll just pound them on the spread. But it could go the other way easily.
So what games on the board today have caught your eye, Dan?
Yeah, well, I mentioned the Virginia-Houston game, and I love the under in that. Those are 2 defensive-minded teams. They're slow-paced teams. They do not like to play a ton of up and down games. Both coaches are prefer to just be a defensive-minded game, longer possessions, and that total is low. It's in the I'm looking at 122, I think. And I still like the under there. I mean, this is a game where 60 points will win it. Probably be in the 50s late in that one. So I like that one. I mentioned Gonzaga. I definitely like them to win easily. And that's a game where it might be close in the second half. It's only a 6-point favorites there, but it might be close in the second half. And then Gonzaga is kind of getting a few free throws. If UCLA has to foul late, and so you get that cover there. I did mention UNC Asheville. That game, I love the over. As I mentioned, UNC is just not playing good defense now that Roy Williams is gone. It's Hubie Brown there as the new coach, and he's just got the team focused more on the offensive side, and they're just not playing great defense. Their rebounding is terrible, and they're allowing 80+ points per game, but they're also scoring 80+ points per game. So it's just going to be kind of a back and forth game, and they're just hoping to outscore teams at this point. So those are a few of the ones I'm definitely looking at already.
Yeah, 154.
Our friend Jim Monix is wondering if the Bucknell-Wofford money line parlay has a shot at cashing today.
Wow. Okay.
Jim, what are you up to right now?
Jim was giving you barbecue tips from Memphis earlier in the chat. He must be really bored this morning. What's up, Jim? Good to hear.
I looked at Bucknell, honestly, but I did not look at Wofford, so I can't give a confirmation on that one.
Just to confirm something, Virginia Providence, Wisconsin, Houston. Were you talking about the Virginia Providence game?
Oh, sorry, Wisconsin, Houston is what I was talking about. Yeah, my fault there.
All good.
On the same note, Wisconsin, Houston, both teams liking to play slow and defensive minded there. And Houston is the team that controls the pace. They
Kelvin Sampson.
Defensive first coach there. So but sorry about that. Yeah,
all good. No, we had someone ask about it in the chat. Just wanted to confirm it because I
want to ask you.
It's hard to keep track of all these games. They're all playing each other.
Right.
I want to ask you about a team like Seton Hall. Okay, so I'm a Michigan Wolverine grad.
No way, really?
Shut up, Jared. Shut your mouth over there. But heading into the season, obviously, so much excitement. Then they lose to Seton Hall, right? Then Seton Hall almost beats Ohio State. What was that, yesterday or 2 nights ago?
Seton Hall's legit, man.
That's what I was going to ask. Are they the real deal this year?
I took Seton Hall on the money line yesterday, thinking that they would win that game, and they almost did at the end.
What Ohio State scored they scored a 3 with 1.6 seconds left or something. I thought it was going overtime.
Well, so Seton Hall is one of those teams that people just thought would struggle out of the gate because they lost their best player from last year, Sandro Mamukelashvili. How about that last
Great
name?
Way harder to say that name than your name.
If you could say that, you could say my last name. But yeah, so they lost him, and he was, he's like in the NBA now, and he was their best player. And the year before, they lost Miles Powell, who's also a great player. But they have. I think people have thought they would struggle to replace those guys, but they've had guys step up. Bryce Aiken's one of those key players for them, Harvard transfer, who has been he struggled last year with injuries, but he's now looking like one of the top players he used to be. And a team I mentioned it earlier, Ohio State, just a team that has been overvalued, I think. So they just have not lived up to it, and they still are lacking a couple of those key playmakers outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys. But a team like Seton Hall, who the past 2 years, they've been used to playing in these high profile games and playing toe to toe with these top teams. So I wasn't surprised that they kept that one close. And like I said, I thought they would win it outright. And Michigan's another one that has kind of struggled at times. I'm sorry to say,
they lost a ton of talent.
They did. They have a bunch
and to go back to Seton Hall, Kevin Willard's a hell of a coach. And that's when you have a good coach, and that's why I think Michigan will be fine too, because Juwan Howard I think is a really good coach too. But they're just super young. They're super young.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with like these early season trends is seeing which teams have a bunch of new faces coming in.
Yeah.
This offseason with all the player movement, we had so many transfers.
That's the whole name of the game now.
The new rule where players could become immediately eligible. It's just so many new faces, and with Michigan, they have a couple freshmen. So I think end of the season, Michigan will be a lot better than they are now.
Another question in the chat: the 11 o'clock games, Evansville, Vermont. I'm seeing a little movement to the under here, and I'm seeing movement towards Vermont laying 9 against Evansville in the Gulf Coast Showcase. We got a question in the chat about that game.
I almost brought that up earlier. Vermont. I'm definitely on Vermont here.
Yeah, let's lay it with the Catamounts, baby.
Because of the line movement there. I actually went to Maryland versus Vermont and watched this Vermont team without almost pull off the win. They ended up losing.
Maryland's suspect this year, huh? They lost to Mason the other night, too.
Exactly.
No, the new word is sus, not suspect. You say they're sus this year. Come on.
Vermont's a lot better than the national media and public might think.
And that's another spot. There are a lot of those high major teams that new faces, new coaches that are way overvalued. Mm-hmm. And that's where you find the early movement. That's where you find the early value for sure.
And Vermont's a team that's they're always one of those top lower major teams. I mean,
America East.
Yeah, they know how to compete. So
yeah.
Dan, Jared and I actually were talking about this. I think it was last week. So when you're betting college basketball, especially at the beginning of the season, like Jared says, he looks at the adjusted offense, adjusted defense, and tempo. Like, is that something that you look at when you're betting early college basketball games like this?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, with sites like Ken Pom, Bart Torvik, I mean, these are really important for us. Jared probably knows.
They're Bibles. I have Ken Pom tabbed up on my.
Oh yeah, you got to have the tab saved. Yep. I have it open right now in front of me. I mean, it's so the tempo and pace is like really important for over unders. It's I mentioned with the Wisconsin Houston, it's like both these teams slow pace, and you look at the adjusted defense, both a lot better in defense, but the pace. And on the flip side, if you have two fast-paced teams and you just look like they're playing in high-scoring up and down games the whole time, and now those two teams are meeting, like pound the over. And more often than not, it will hit. Maybe it's just randomly turns into a defensive game. But yeah, the tempo and pace is one I definitely look at a lot, and I play a lot of college basketball DFS actually, and that's another thing we look at there is like targeting teams that are playing in faster paced games.
Another one is effective field goal percentage. That's another one that I look at religiously, which basically grades how well you're shooting compared to the fact that 3 points to 2 point, like 3 point shots are harder to make. And if you do a better job, like it's like it's a weird, I can't really explain it that well, but it's another good metric that basically shows how efficient you are from the floor, which is a very, I love the stats, even though some people would say stats are for losers, but I don't know.
Stats are for losers.
Sometimes these advanced stats, it's like, it might seem a little nerdy, but it proves the difference in the end.
I think over the long haul, it does. I think in a 1-game scenario, college like I was up at 3 a.m. last night watching Pepperdine, Fresno State. Like you throw the stats out when Pepperdine turns it over 20 times, and when the officiating is so poor, but it gives us something to talk about on the show. So
that's the other thing with these early season. It's like you get the eye test is important as well.
100%.
Because if you're just watching a team and you're like, all right, their offense is just one dimensional. A good team will dominate them. So that's something I definitely pay attention to.
Dan, it's been so much fun having you on. Before we let you go, any final thoughts, final wrap up for you looking forward into the rest of the season, like things to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think the top, I'm really interested in this Gonzaga game, and they're playing Duke on Friday, and I think that's just going to be, by the way, that game, we got Paolo Banchero for Duke against Chet Holmgren. Just going to be, those are like the top 2 NBA draft picks coming up. So it's going to be a good test to see just how they both react to it. But Gonzaga is a power. I'm really interested to see how rest of the season they do, because they have tough non-conference schedule before they get into their cake West Coast schedule there. But gonna be good to see how they do.
Yeah, I don't think Pepperdine's going to compete too much with Gonzaga this year. No, they're going to turn it over 100 times.
I think they've lost. Fun stat for you. I think they've lost like 40 straight games to Gonzaga. Fun.
Wow.
Go Waves.
So it's going to be an expensive money line.
Michigan Ohio State football rivalry.
Oh my God.
I heard you talking about that. Yeah. Hopefully, maybe things change this week.
Yeah. Dan, are you on Michigan?
I got to say I'm not. I'm on Ohio State.
All right, time to wrap this up. Dan, time for you to go.
That's it. You just got cut. Dan. Sorry, bud. You're not invited back.
Dan Servodidio, Fantasy Alarm. So much fun having you on. We'll definitely have you on in the future. Thanks for making the time for us on this Turkey Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you both. And happy Thanksgiving for you.
Appreciate you, man.
Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday with your fam.
Turkey Tuesday.
I just got to say to that, go blue. Okay, moving on from that. Let's talk a little bit about some kick picks. And I'm not talking field goal kicks. I'm talking football kicks. Not football, football. Let's head over the pond, talk a little Champions League soccer. And I'm going to let you take the reins on this one because half these teams, I can't even pronounce their names. So
we'll get you there. I have trouble. I have trouble with them sometimes too. Maybe Dan Posner will give me a message.
Starting at 12:45 today. We got NCAA basketball and we got football.
I'll try to get these names right. This is also the first time I've given out soccer picks on a live television show in 6 months. I'm very excited. This is a big moment for me. So let me just
relish in it, Jared. Relish in it.
I'll give you my top play first because obviously that's the best, right? At Atlanta, not Atlanta. That's where you live. At Atlanta. That's who we're. Did you, when you looked at the sheet this morning, did you think that I was betting the Atlanta?
Like Atlanta team? United. I'm like, I'm not in the Champions League.
I'm first of all, I'm super happy that that's what you thought because I had this joke planned all day. I was like, she's gonna think that I'm betting Atlanta. At Atlanta, they play in Serie A, which is in Italy. By the way, beautiful country if you've ever been. So they play the Young Boys, which is a team from Switzerland. And if you rank the leagues, the Italian league way ahead of the Switzerland league. Now, the Young Boys are actually one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Swiss league, but they've really struggled of late. And also because it's in Switzerland and because their league ends early, they haven't played a match in 2 weeks. So I'm a little concerned with the continuity with the Young Boys today. And Atalanta, they won this match 1-0. So they play 2 fixtures usually in group stage of Champions League. So this is the return fixture. And Atalanta won the first match 1-0. And Atalanta's in good form. They've won 6 straight. They're coming off a 5-2 win Sunday. And this is an important match because this group is all kind of jumbled together. So Atalanta needs a good result today if they want to make it to the knockout round of the Champions League. This is the last fixture of group stage today. So a lot of, jockeying for position. Atalanta, I'm doing a full unit on the money line today, laying about 30 cents. Some unders that are super boring, but listen, in soccer, football, it's unders and favorites. That tends to how I usually bet. Chelsea and Juventus, really good matchup, but not great because all the players for both teams are kind of hurt. Chelsea probably has no Lukaku, no Werner. And Juventus they could definitely use Cristiano Ronaldo back, but he's on Manchester United now. They've been really struggling too. Go under 2.5 there. I'm going to mess this one up. Lille, they're in the French league against Salzburg. Not Lille. I think it's Lille against Salzburg from the Austrian league. We're going to go under 2.5 there. Benfica, which, by the way, I've been to a Benfica match in Portugal, in Lisbon. Beautiful area. And also against Barcelona.
He's well-traveled, people. Well-traveled.
I love my European foodies. Benfica, Barcelona. Barcelona, no more Messi. Everyone's out for Barcelona. And I think this one's going to stay under as well. And then finally, how can I bet a Manchester United match and not sprinkle on Cristiano Ronaldo to score a goal? Plus 140. He has scored the final goal in all 3 or the last 3 of Manchester United's Champions League matches. So I'll recap the picks for you one more time. Atalanta, full unit, top play of the day on the money line. Chelsea, Juventus, under 2.5. Lille, Salzburg, under 2.5. Benfica, Barcelona, under 3. And Ronaldo to score an anytime goal. Those are all half unit plays.
And I'm betting the under that you did not say all of those correctly. Just saying.
I think I actually did pretty well. I think Lille is the one that I'm a little bit off on.
I'm like calling it Lille.
I'm very confident with Atalanta because that was like my favorite team last year in Champions League because they are like a huge goal scorer. And great note by Jack Ronaldo, the all-time goal leader in the Champions League.
Producer Jack, a Champions League savvy guy.
We have a lot of footy fans on the Spotlight Sports Group family because it's based in London.
I love it. I need to get more into it because I've never really bet football before, but I feel like
Atalanta.
I've played my entire life. I know the sport like the back of my hand. So why not become a big fan?
I really want to go, if any of the Spotlight people are listening, I really want to go to an EPL match in London. So
I would love that.
That would be awesome if you can make that happen for me. I've never been to, the only international football match I've ever attended was Benfica against FC Basel, which was a Champions League match like 5 years ago when I was in Lisbon. It's the only international soccer match I've ever been to in my entire life.
Well, we need to get you out there for another one, Jared. It's time.
I would love that.
It's time.
Please.
All right, we can't end the show without our Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So give it to us. What do we got?
Oh, wait, crap. I need to pull up the website.
Oh,
I got so invested in kit picks, I didn't have it up. Wow, actually, there's a horse racing pick today on the website, which is awesome.
I love a good horse racing pick.
So the race number 6 at Zia Park, Martin Pennington has Casual to win as a 3-star play. But I'll give him more. Actually, we'll give a shout out to our buddy John Hyslop. He's got a 3-star pick today. It's PJ Tucker to score 10 plus points at plus 290. That's a 3-star play. NBA player prop of the day. We've also got a couple of we got one more NBA pick. Lakers Knicks over 214.5 as well. Philip Tomic. That name I doubt I said right, but maybe I did. So great Pickswise 3-star plays today. Horse racing, NBA, the whole kit and caboodle. Anything you want, you got.
I love it. Kit and caboodle. All right, our best bets. A lot of hockey games going on tonight, a lot of basketball games, but we're taking it to the ice, right? I think we have almost the same pick. Kind of a little different, though.
I love puck picks. I'll be honest. I think I like hockey. It was not on my Mount Rushmore of picks. It was like NFL, college football, soccer, and then college basketball. I think NHL is rising the ranks. I really like capping hockey. We are kind of on the same pick. I'm on the Lightning 3-way money line, plus 115. This is the front end of a back-to-back for our Philadelphia Flyers tonight. And they have the Panthers tomorrow night. Tough Thanksgiving week back-to-back at Tampa, at Florida. Tampa's hot. They've won 4 or 5. I know you're going to probably talk about this too. They've scored at least 3 goals in all 5 of those games. And I feel like Philly is just a fade. They were up 2-0 in this game last week, and they lost in penalties. And I think Tampa Bay gets it done at home in regulation.
Yeah, I like that too. And I actually have them getting it done by over 2 goals.
Yeah,
I'm taking Tampa Bay puck line. I love my good money, my plus money. So I'm taking Tampa Bay puck line at plus 152 on FanDuel right now against the Flyers. They've been clicking 1 regulation loss in their last 11 games, 8-1-2 in that stretch. And that includes a road win to none other than the Philadelphia Flyers last week. They're not showing any signs of slowing down. They're playing their 4th game in 6 nights, and they're still flying high.
Oh, wow.
Not to say that the Flyers are doing that. They've been up and down. They've dropped 4 in their last 6. And we saw the Lightning dig down deep, bounce back after giving up the late lead against Minnesota on Sunday night. So I look at a team like Tampa Bay. They have talent. They have depth. They have plenty of ways to beat any team on any given night. And the Flyers are struggling right now. I see that trend continuing. I see Tampa Bay winning by 2 or more. Puck line, Tampa Bay plus 152.
I love it.
So we're sticking with it.
We had some great chat questions today. Great stuff in the chat. Love it. Someone asked me how I didn't have Andrew Thomas over a half touchdown last night. That was the offensive lineman that scored for the Giants. Can you believe the Giants scored 1 touchdown last night, and it was scored by an offensive lineman?
Yep.
Can't make it up.
That's when you know you're not very good.
When you know it's not your night.
Yeah, or it's not your season. Just saying. All right, that's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, because we're going live at 10 o'clock every single morning, 7 days a week, except for Thanksgiving. We're taking Thanksgiving off, but don't you even worry. We're giving our Thanksgiving football picks. Oh, Jared, my camera just died.
What just happened?
My camera just died. I'm still here.
Oh, no.
That's when you know it's time to go.
I don't even know. You handle that like a pro, though. I will say that.
Thank you. That's when you know it's time to go. I guess I need to charge my camera for
that. Was your camera saying bye?
My camera's like, peace, I'm done working today.
Yo, camera's on Thanksgiving break.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to go. Jack goes, wrap it.
Wrap it up, B.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.